Can you imagine the conversation they had when they were like, just get out of the White House?
Yeah, let's hope that Joe Biden doesn't find his way onto a bicycle anywhere. The question isn't what Joe Biden's doing. We already have observed that. The real question is, what will House Republicans do? And, Carl, I want to discuss that. First, House Republicans should immediately demand that Jack Smith present himself for a transcribed interview before the Judiciary Committee in the next 15 days. If he does not do that, we should send a subpoena. If he ignores the subpoena, we should hold him in criminal contempt of the Congress so that he is the first prosecutor in American history to be prosecuting a case while himself under criminal contempt. And if Merrick Garland doesn't enforce that criminal contempt, then we ought to impeach Merrick Garland. And by the way, while we're doing all of that to showcase how political and indeed dirty this has all become, we can utilize congressional immunities to immunize President Trump. 18 U.S.C. 6002, subpart 3, gives any committee or subcommittee of the Congress the ability to subpoena a witness, bring them in, and functionally immunize them. And if we are not going to stand up for Congress's equities when it comes to election interference, when it comes to misuse of the DOJ, this is all an effort to try to distract us from the very real crimes committed by Hunter and Joe Biden. It's not a coincidence that Joe Biden is going to the beach now, but it is especially not a coincidence that on the heels of their former business partner, Devon Archer, saying that Joe Biden was functionally the closer, the guy that gave the credibility to the Biden brand for them to engage in international influence peddling, that just on the heels of that, now this indictment reads like a torturing of First Amendment protected activity. If you don't like the way they run elections, if you want a better way, if you want to offer a constitutionally contemplated objection, they want to make a criminal of you. That's a dangerous thing for the country. And if the House Judiciary Committee and House Republicans won't stand up for our republic, then what is the point of having us there anyway?
I know. Well, there was recently some commentary on CNN of all places, which is just the absolute worst. Check out what this one person said comparing the indictment of President Trump to this. Take a look.
I told him how proud I felt to be an American at that moment, much in the way that I did when I learned that our military had killed Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden was a terrorist who committed a horrific act against American people and against our republic. And I believe that Donald Trump is a terrorist who committed horrific acts against the American people.
I wonder what he liked or hated the most about Trump. Was it the no wars, low gas prices, lower tax? What was it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a sick comparison to suggest that sending planes through buildings to kill thousands of our fellow Americans, destroy our economy, and send our military into great consternation over the attack on the Pentagon, that is somehow analogous to saying that we ought to have an objection and have people peacefully and patriotically protesting. I mean, there were people who had permits outside the Capitol for a peaceful demonstration like we see, frankly, many days at the Capitol. And the fact that barriers were taken down and it was a confusing riot-like situation is obviously not something to celebrate, but it's also not something that puts any criminal culpability on President Trump. We don't need Jack Smith to tell us what happened on January 6th. We watched President Trump say that people should be peaceful and patriotic and have their voices heard. And by the way, not for nothing, Carl, but no Republican has been sworn in president of the United States absent some Democrat objection to the electors since George Herbert Walker Bush. I mean, these people were objecting to George W.'s elections. Where was the criminal indictment for Jim McGovern when he objected, or Sheila Jackson Lee, or Jamie Raskin? Of course, we would never do that to them because the Constitution contemplates a process by which we can have this debate. No less than Mike Pence, who, by the way, today appears to be quite interested in the subject, even said that we need to have the debate. And that's what we were preparing for. Marjorie Taylor Greene and myself, my colleagues, we were not there to try to foment some riot. We were there to put on evidence, have a debate, have a discussion, have a vote, and then very likely we knew Joe Biden was going to be the president of the United States. So they are taking First Amendment activity and they're trying to make it criminal, and that should frighten every American.
It should. You mentioned debate and Mike Pence, and they might not go in the same sentence because he hasn't qualified. Congressman, we appreciate your time.